Welcome, guys, to another episode here on the N&M podcast. And today we are starting a brand new series. It is the All Eyes On series. And the way we're going to work this series is we're going to talk about every club in the Premier League. Hopefully it will be your club. Today we're going to start with Arsenal, and we're going to talk about the manager, the signings, the competitions that they're going to be competing in this season, where we think they're going to finish, and what a season we think they're going to have. We're going to be posting these episodes every week, so keep an eye out for your team. But today we're going to kickstart with Arsenal. My name's Northie, I'll be your host tonight, and Nathan is over on the other screen. And we're going to start off talking about Arteta. So Nathan, Arteta, what do we think so far? First full season.
Well, obviously, so far so good. Obviously, he joined midway through last season, replacing Unai Emery. Things sort of went stagnant under Emery. And yeah, so far so good. I mean, it could just be an elongated honeymoon period. But of course, Arteta cut his teeth with Guardiola at Man City, didn't he? As part of his backroom staff in terms of his management career and coaching career. But yeah, so far the biggest thing for me is they seem much more structured and they seem to have much more of an identity and harder to break down. And I think that solely comes from the manager.
Agree. I like Arteta. I think he was a good player. In his playing career, he had a fairly successful playing career. And I think as a manager, he looks very hands-on. He looks like the type of manager that can put an arm around his players and kind of, he's a bit of a man manager. I don't think he's the type to sit back and, bark his orders and leave them to it. I think he treats them like players.
Well, I did see. I think it was the FA Cup final or the. He's obviously very. What you hear about on obviously the stadium has been empty now. The commentators can obviously hear the managers a lot clearer, and they all say how vocal Arteta is on the edge of the touchline, almost like managing certain players through the games. And I think there was a clip of him. I think it was the FA Cup final. And I can't remember exactly who it was. I think Ceballos was on the ball, and he was talking to him in Spanish. And then he sent it through to Lacazette. And then as soon as it went towards it, he started shouting in French towards Lacazette. Like, it was switching up the language, almost like individually helping certain players for different moments of the game. Whereas then it goes back to Rob Holding, he's talking English to him. So it's kind of like that kind of little personal. You feel like he's very hands-on in that respect. He doesn't just let his play. If they're struggling, he's on the touchline. He's on the edge of the technical area, trying to guide his team through certain situations.
Very good. And a lot of people kind of compared him to Pep, didn't they? Because he was his number two. Was he going to come in? Was he going to act the same? Was his tactics going to be the same? Did he want to play the same? I don't think he necessarily does. I think he's very similar. Playing
out from the back,
and he's quite theatrical on the sidelines, and he's casual kind of look at times, in his chinos and stuff. And I think he's quite similar. But I think in the way he wants to manage Arsenal, I think he's been quite clever. I think. You know my thoughts on Pep, but we're not going to go into that because he's not about Man City.
Yeah.
I think with Arteta, he's kind of come in and he's adapted. I think he could see that Arsenal couldn't control games anymore. They couldn't dominate the ball like they used to be able to under Arsene Wenger. And he kind of introduced this counter-attacking style, which...
Yes. Certainly in the big games.
Exactly. We've already seen glimpses of it, haven't we? And it seems to work. And he can switch it up. Against Fulham last week, they controlled the game. They dominated. They were in full control. They never looked.
Oh, they were brilliant.
They never looked under any threat. So, I think as a manager, I think he's probably the right man to take them forward. Only time will tell, of course. But moving on to the big news for Arsenal, probably in the last week, was obviously Aubameyang signed the new contract. Probably again a lot of Arteta's influence. Let's talk about Aubameyang as a player. A lot of people will probably say he's one of the best strikers in the Premier League, and I'd have to agree. He excites me every time I watch him. He's quick, he can finish, he's skillful, he's good on the ball. I'm surprised he has signed the contract, in all honesty. What's your thoughts on Aubameyang signing the new deal?
Well, I think Aubameyang, he is that. I don't want to compare him too much to Thierry Henry, but he is the one who's going to make things happen. I mean, he's the one who's going to pick the ball up and carry it and drive. He's got that electric pace. He's also a very, very good finisher. He's a different level of striker to the likes of Lacazette or Eddie Nketiah. He is their real superstar. He is to Arsenal what Harry Kane is to Tottenham. I mean, he's absolutely superb. He is kind of surrendering, competing at the top level, staying at Arsenal, because are Arsenal going to challenge for league titles in the next 3 years? It seems unlikely. Are they going to be in the Champions League in the next 3 years? Potentially, but are they going to challenge in the Champions League in the next 3 years?
No, 100% not.
So he's kind of where he could have gone to I know Barcelona apparently put an offer in for him whilst all these negotiations were going on. But I don't know, at Arsenal, he's sort of like a big fish in a small pond, isn't he? He's sort of the main man. It suits him. I think he thrives off that role. Obviously, Arsenal is a big club, and he sort of. I mean, don't get me wrong, Arsenal's still a massive club, and obviously as a professional, probably a great
Yeah.
club to play for. But he could be somewhere better. He can do better than Arsenal.
Is he the
But he's
type of player
decided
though
to
that
stay.
is as fans and especially as a, the club that we follow? Is he the type of player though that we should be praising? Because has he shown loyalty to Arsenal, or is it the money that's talking? Because Arsenal as a club at the moment, they're not the most appetising, are they?
Mm-hmm.
Let's be honest here. We've kind of started on a positive note, but let's just, Arsenal they've not broken any pots, have they, in the last 2-3 years? So is it loyalty from Aubameyang, or is it purely money? Where?
Well, let's say he's not going hungry.
No,
Let's put it straight. He's not going hungry. He's obviously extremely well paid. And could he have got more money elsewhere on a free transfer? Yes, he would have done. He probably would have done. But obviously he's not going. But we said this about Bale the other week. How much money is enough money? I mean, he's not
no.
bothered about money. He's got more than enough money. You've seen the amount of cars he has. He has decided that I think he's Arsenal's captain, isn't he? He's decided he's going to stick it out at Arsenal. I think for the fans, that is a good sign of loyalty. I mean, Arsenal is still one of the most attractive clubs in the world. Although, like we said, there is now a tier above Arsenal, where Arsenal used to be on that top tier 15 years ago. They are now the tier
100%.
below the upper echelons of world football. But no, I think it's a good move all around for Arsenal. Arteta obviously played a bigger role in it, and I think Aubameyang, he thrives at Arsenal. He plays his best football at Arsenal. He obviously enjoys his football at Arsenal. He's revered by the fans, and good luck to him.
No, fair play to him. Just moving on to obviously the signings, we'll just pull the signings up, and obviously they've brought in, is it Pablo Murray? That he was, I believe, was he on loan, or did they loan him out? Or?
Yeah, last season he was on loan, and they made it
brought
permanent.
Cedric Soares in, which was obviously the deal that was made last year, but obviously permanent. Williams coming in on a free. Gabriel they've signed, and they've also brought back Dani Ceballos on loan. And obviously, there's some good signings in there. William probably being the standout. Getting 3 assists, was it? Or was it the 2 assists? I know was the third one. The third one was a little bit dubious, weren't it?
I think there's three signings out of that list there who are really going to affect the first team. I think Pablo Mari is going to be cover. I don't think Cedric, we call him. I don't think he's going to be a first team regular. Maybe with the amount of games in the Europa League, he might get a run out now and then. But I think the 3 big ones are obviously Willian, Ceballos back on loan, and Gabriel. I think they're going to be the 3 mainstays in the first team. Obviously, we've known for a while Arsenal's defence is absolutely honking. I mean, I think Arteta's very, very concerned anytime. I don't think he'd ever play a formation with 2 at the back. I don't think he has enough trust in his centre halves. So they needed a centre back, and also they've got Saliba, although not coming in this season. He's almost like a new signing. And Gabriel, I think the hope is eventually those 2. They're both young. They'll come up together, and they'll eventually turn into a 2. But Ceballos obviously did well there last season. Was a bit hot and cold, but finished the season really strong, and I think they'll be happy to get him back. And then Willian, it's a proven top class player at this level. Surprised Chelsea let him go. It was a no brainer for Arsenal to snap him up because he'll have a big effect. So I think overall it's solid business by Arsenal. Whether they'll do any more before the end of the window, I don't know. There's talk of this Hassam Aouar from Lyon and Thomas Partey from Atletico Madrid. Yeah, they probably do need a bit more steel in the middle of the park, but I think so far so good in terms of
and obviously the players going out. Obviously, I know Mkhitaryan was it Roma on loan towards the back end of the season. Obviously, he didn't quite get the career he wanted at Arsenal. Neither United, to be fair. He's obviously joined them on a permanent basis. Is he the sort of player, do you think, deserved maybe another crack under Arteta, or is their front 3 a little bit too strong?
He's obviously a very, very talented player, Mkhitaryan. I mean, you don't know what he did at Dortmund. Obviously, he came to English football at Manchester United first, and he was caught up in that Alexis Sanchez transfer swap deal, whatever you want to call it. And it never really hit the ground running. Maybe the Premier League's a bit too quick for him. But perhaps he's not the most athletic player in the world. Perhaps the pace of the Premier League, the physicality was a bit too much for him. But obviously, you give him time and space on the ball. He's proven it in Europe at the top level at Dortmund, and obviously at Roma now. He is a very talented footballer. But I don't think they'll miss him.
No.
I don't think they'll miss
him. So solid business for Arsenal during the summer. Moving on, obviously, to the competitions that they're involved in this year. And you've got the Premier League, Carabao Cup, FA Cup, and obviously Europa League. What's a priority for Arsenal, do you think? Obviously, they won the FA Cup last season, which was a great achievement. And they've got the Charity Shield, which, is maybe a friendly or
some counts.
it's one of them.
If you win it, it's a trophy. If you lose
Yeah,
it, it's a
exactly.
friendly. That's that, isn't it? Yeah.
Premier League, obviously, it's the be all and end all, isn't it? You know, it is the bread and butter. But you know, as an Arsenal fan, do they think they can make top four? Is Europa League more of probably say an easier route for them to get into the Champions League than try and break into that top four? Because I think top four is a big ask. Because there's some, you know, let's look at the clubs that are up there this season. They've got some strength in depth, haven't they? You know, and I
Yeah,
think it might
definitely.
be too big an ask personally for Arsenal to get.
Well, I think for sure the domestic competitions, being the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, will take a back seat. I think you're right in what you're saying. I think they'll get out of the group regardless of the Europa League. And I think when it gets to, I don't know, February time, it gets towards the knockout stage of the Europa League, you'll see where Arsenal are in the league. And if they're looking like they're not going to get top four, because you can kind of gauge around
Yeah,
that time of the year where you might end up finishing. I think then they'll start to say, okay, we need to get our heads down and concentrate on the league if they're in the shot for
yeah,
top four. But if they're miles off the top four, then Europa League will be there. And I do believe Europa League will be the best way
yeah.
into
No, I
Europe.
agree.
So I think they'll start to throw a lot more weight behind that
Yeah,
competition. In terms of domestic trophies, they have a good recent history of the FA Cup. Obviously, they've won it a few times in the
yeah.
last few
5 times, I
years.
believe.
I think, yeah, I think the league, obviously top four. I think securing Champions League football by any
Mm,
means possible is whether that's through the Premier League or through the Europa League. I think anything else is a bonus for them. Obviously, they're probably going to go into every game
yeah.
trying to win it, but I just think from an outsider looking in, top four is everything for Arsenal. Being in the Champions League,
Mm.
that money, that draw, being able to attract players to play in the Champions League, everything else is a bonus. So whether that's Europa League or Premier
Mm.
League, Champions League is the absolute pinnacle for them
Yeah,
this
I agree,
season.
and I think just like I say, just finishing. I think for Arsenal fans, I think they can expect a good season from them in all competitions. Really, I think he's definitely got the potential to be a great manager. I think the squad, it isn't the strongest. It's not. I don't think it's going to be a squad that can challenge for the
No.
title yet. But I think they've got a lot of potential in there. I think he's building something for the future. I think the old doom and gloom's starting to shift away from them. I think they'll be in for a good season. Carabao Cup, I don't think they'll take too seriously. FA Cup, I think they'll stand a chance. You know, they always tend to take that more serious than others. And the Europa League, well, I think that's wide open for most clubs. The competition in there is very very mixed, isn't it? You know, across all the countries, there's not many top clubs in there. So yeah, I think overall Arsenal fans can expect a good season from them. And on that note, we'll finish there. As for it's been a great video. I hope you've enjoyed it. The All Eyes On series, a nice quick blast through your club, and hopefully it will be the season you Arsenal fans want to expect. And as always, if you enjoy these videos and the content from the NN podcast, drop us a like, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to just hit that bell, the notification bell. But also comment below. Join in with the discussion, guys. We enjoy it just as much as you do. My name's Norfolk. This is Nathan. We hope you've enjoyed this video. As for now, take care.